what a nice way to start my mountain pass season with my new GT3 RS. And yes, this is another new GT3 RS. So I not only had now my 991.1 GT3 RS for around 7 months, thoroughly enjoyed it. Such a great car, especially I would say value for money. I did, however, always want a 0.2. At the time I got my 0.1, it was just too expensive and there wasn't the right spec on the market that I wanted. I had my dream spec in mind, which was exactly GT Silver, Visac package and yellow ceramics. I just loved that look. So I decided I'm going to get the 991.1, enjoy that for a bit. I always wanted to experience the car, and actually I have to say, although I've been changing car quite frequently, it has made me appreciate them all in a really good way, and I can really compare them very well now. But anyway, Daniel at DTM came through for me again. Big shout out to him. A friend of his contacted him selling this car, and it just so happened to be my dream spec 0.2. So Daniel called me straight up, said, found your dream spec 991.2 GT3 RS. I didn't quite believe it. I went to see it, I test drove it, and I have to admit I was quite unaware, and there were some comments about this on my previous videos with my 991.1 about how much better the 0.2 is. I didn't quite believe it. Maybe I didn't want to quite believe it. The difference is it's quite something. One important thing on the 0.2 RS, very rare. This is a non-OPF model, which is quite hard to find. It's a car that I feel quite certain is only going to go up in value. So to find a dream spec 0.2 RS, non-OPF, there's no way I could say no to that. So I went for it, did a trade-in with my 0.1. Someone actually said to me, whatever you do, don't go and test drive the 0.2. I can officially back that up now. If you really love your 0.1, don't go and test drive the 0.2. So let's do a quick walk around and then go for my first mountain pass drive, well, my first big mountain pass drive, and my first one in this car. So I picked this up 2 weeks ago now. I've actually already done 600 kilometers, and I just simply do not want to stop driving it. Visac package, GT Silver, already gold wheels from factory, and yes, the yellow ceramic brakes, which are somewhat an overkill. Yes, I don't need quite that stopping power. One thing actually that I've already done, you know me, I don't leave my cars totally stock for long, so it is slightly lower suspension setup from Sportec, so it's not been lowered too much. It's around actually 1 centimeter, which apparently makes a huge difference. So lowered suspension setup. The cool thing is as well, as some of you know from my previous GT3 RS, I had the JCR Superlight exhaust on. At the moment I haven't put it on, but the cool thing is, of course, I can put it straight onto this car. As I said in my previous videos with my 991.1, I just love the platform. I really do. Upgrading to the 0.2 is a dream. I will be sticking my JCR titanium exhaust on, but before I do, I really want to show you guys today how incredible this sounds. I also had no idea how much better the 0.2 sounds. So I asked a few people about it. Most are claiming it's the engine. It's just the upgraded engine. Also the exhaust is slightly upgraded. There's tweaks on the exhaust, so tweaks on the engine and the exhaust. And my God, it sounds incredible. All these little extras like this, carbon here, carbon roof, the carbon wing as well with the Porsche lettering on, which I really like. And I want to show you one of the most ridiculous options you can take on a Porsche, which this has. Like I said, they ticked, I think, every box. This. So this is an option. You have this in leather here, in contrast GT Silver stitching, which is ridiculous. I mean, it's nice that I have it, but it's really only for that moment you open and close the door, because when the door is closed you can't see it. So it's really just for that one moment that you open your door and you go, I'm so happy I put this in fancy leather here. Contrasting stitching all over the seats, the yellow seat belts. Something that I love is this Visac carbon surround. This was a very expensive option, including the small carbon paddles, honestly, nicest feeling paddles I've ever used on a Porsche. Also things like this, the Porsche logo down here, loads of extras. All of this is in Alcantara, the sun blinds, the seatbelt parts here in Alcantara. Like I said, they went full in when they configured this car. I really do think it has actually every possible option. Home from home. It was so nice to change into this for many reasons, of course, but also, you know, it was like jumping into my previous GT3 RS, just a much nicer version. So directly home from home. So my previous car is now for sale. If you're interested, it is, as far as I'm concerned, one of the best ones you'll find. Never tracked, just like this. Really perfect condition, looks like new inside, as this does. Not easy to come by. Don't really know what to say. I feel quite overwhelmed. I have to admit, I do not like doing these new car videos. I'm always just too nervous, and I can't speak properly, and I'm probably going to forget to say stuff. So bear with me. On the next video, I'll be a bit more relaxed, but I'm just not that good or such a fan of doing these new car videos. Something also on the 0.2 that came in. So when you start the car, it does this really nice vroom, oh, it's 911. It's 911. I just started the car. First time going up a big mountain pass. It's 911. I need to take a picture of that on my phone. There we go. It is 911. I see this every single day, multiple times. How cool is that? Started the car at 911 in my new GT3 RS. Sorry, I'm obsessed. God, these carbon paddles feel incredible. From all of the paddles I've experienced and all of the Porsche GT cars, these are the nicest. They are, wow, 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 wow. Loving the yellow seat belts, all the yellow details. I've always wanted yellow seat belts. GT silver with yellow details. Dream spec. I can't believe I have my dream spec 0.2 RS. And I know you might not believe me, this is such a usable car. How good does that sound? Stock. But first thing I want to mention that I'm just loving in the 0.2 is the way the car's programmed. So the gear shifts. There were, I would say, two things that I wasn't totally happy with in the 0.1. That's all. Otherwise, like I said, I just love that car. But two things that I missed from my 992 GT3. First was the downshifts. The downshifts in the 0.1 just feel somewhat slow. They feel a bit soft. And slow isn't the word, soft is more of the word. So on the downshift, it just wasn't giving that kick. And in this, the programming is, for me, like the 992. It's so fast. The downshifts really have a nice kick to them. The other thing is the clutch. Now the clutch on the 0.1 is somewhat annoying. Every time you put away, it's like nothing, 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 and then it jumps. It's a very jumpy car. And to use on a day-to-day basis, after some time, I found it quite annoying, I have to say. Hang on. The steering and the accuracy massively improved on the 0.2. Also now back to the 9,000 RPM red line. In the 0.1, it actually goes to 8.5, which is also fine, by the way. The 0.2 definitely has more grunt across the power band. It just feels constantly faster. It feels more nimble, it feels lighter, it feels more playful actually. So overall, I'm just happy with every improvement on this car. One thing that I did read online that people talked about was the suspension is stiffer in the 0.2. It does feel a little bit stiffer, it's a bit more bumpy, but for me, not in a bad way at all. It doesn't feel too hard, and honestly, after owning the GT4 RS, this feels completely soft, because the GT4 RS for me, the suspension was basically rigid, so for me this feels really nice. Not too hard, definitely not too hard that you can't live with it. And as I said, luxuries like having Apple CarPlay and now a reversing camera in a car like this really does help a lot, especially if you're like me and want to use it a lot. You know, I've got a lot of friends that have these hardcore cars, or even like the 0.1 where you don't have those luxuries, but they really have that car as a toy, as like a Sunday driver. And for me, I want to use this as much as possible. I'm going to use it in the week next to my Alfa Romeo Giulia. I want to do road trips with it. I really want to just use this car, not overthink the kilometers like I always did before. At least I've bought a car now as well that I know the value is not going to go down. A non-OPF 0.2 RS in a good spec, that's been taken care of. So at least that. It's so nice to be back on the Grimswood Pass. So normally by now I would have already been on the mountain passes, but as you've maybe seen in the news, we have had extreme weather in Switzerland. Actually really sad. Quite some people have sadly lost their lives because of the flooding, because of the amount of rain. It's also been creating landslides. Really, really sad. So I really can't complain about just not being able to drive the mountain passes when so many people have actually lost so much because of this bad weather. But what I do want to say is it's been challenging. I don't know where you are in the world, but Swiss summer this year, it's just not happening. It's raining more days than it's not. God. Just spectacular. Look at this road. I definitely miss doing this. And what a way to test drive my car properly for the first time, straight up the Grimswood Pass. So I just stopped on the side of the road, a little bit of hiking to get a better view of the Grimswood Pass. It just feels so nice to be up here. My new GT3 RS is one thing, but another thing is just being up here. My favourite place to be, the mountains. Ooh, Peugeot 106 Rally. I've always wanted one of them. I kid you not, last week I was looking to see if I could find a cheap one. Obviously they're going up in value, but I would love a Peugeot 106 Rally. Such a cool car. What a view I have at the moment. This is not bad at all. So look, even snow, still snow up here. As I said, I mean, look how thick that is. Maybe you can see it's half a meter there. And it's very orange, as I've said before. So recently we've been getting a lot of these, I actually call it blood rain, which just sounds horrific. I don't know why whoever named it blood rain, because yeah, it's a sand from the Sahara Desert. We used to get them in Switzerland maybe once a year, and I think in the last months we've had it like 4 times in 2 months. So it's getting more frequent. I would be happy. Give me a small hut here, a little hut, and I would happily live up here. Hut up here, park the GT3 down here. Happy days. As you may have noticed from the drone shot, my Alfa Romeo, oh god, I nearly fell over. My Alfa Romeo Giulia is actually up here as well. So my girlfriend actually decided to join me today, and she's taking my Giulia for a drive, which is very nice. So I've got a bit of company today, that's nice.